uploading now.
Woo! Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah. Hold on. It's gotta come up. It's gotta come up.
Beating the drums of victory. What?
Uh-oh. We lost. Yep, we lost. We lost.
What does that mean?
By just 25,000.
Wait, what is it?
By just 25.
Wait, what do you mean we lost?
We lost.
We haven't lost the whole time.
No, it's okay.
I got my bottle.
It was fun.
Fuck fun.
So, you're like the only person in the world that's gotten to play Ninja Gaiden 2 yet.
So far.
So far.
Yeah.
You know, the combat definitely looks like an evolved version of what we saw in the first game, with the violence amped up to like 13.
Yeah.
And that looks like a good thing. And the enemies look like things that would have been bosses in the last game, or maybe sub-bosses, or at least like tougher enemies.
Are like the average dude now.
Yeah, and that's fucking badass.
Yeah.
I have to say that part of the reason that I love the original Ninja Gaiden, the reason that it's like one of my top 10 favorite games, is that not only is the combat as good as it is, but you know, I really did like the fact that it was a giant open world. It kind of straddled this like RPG, action RPG line in a way that to me made it better than the sum of its parts.
What they're doing is that they're reducing the amount of backtracking that you had to do, and like, you know, a lot of times if you put Ninja Gaiden down, if you didn't play it straight through, you know, you would come back to it maybe after a few weeks and you'd be like, oh shit, where did I have to go now, right? They're trying to keep it so that if you actually take a break from the game, let's say another game comes out this week that you want to play and you give NG2 a little bit of a rest, then when you come back, what you need to do is more apparent, but there will still be freedom. There will be things that you can go and do. There will be exploration. One stage had me running around something that was almost like the Guggenheim. It was like kind of this spiraling level where, you know, obviously I had to get into a lot of combat, tried to use all the old Ninja Gaiden tricks that you learned, but there's a lot of new stuff. In order to get to a boss that drops the key that lets you open up this huge dragon's mouth that you have to run into and then go to the next level, that kind of thing. So there is still a lot. It's not nearly as simplified as you'd think it is. It's just that they removed a lot of the extraneous bullshit.
It sounds like they're right on the right path with this then, and that's good. I mean, I guess the real question is then how does it feel? I mean, does it feel significantly better? Does the combat feel better than Ninja Gaiden 1?
What's funny about the new combat is that it seems like it's just this gratuitous violence, you know, where you're cutting people's heads off, you're cutting people's arms off. There are actually game mechanics attached to each one of these things. So like as Itagaki said, you know, the characters that realize that they're not going home that night, you know, they're like, well, screw this, you know, so they'll pull out a grenade and they'll like try and clamp on your leg or something and basically suicide bomb you. So like everything has repercussions. So you think like, okay, I've chopped this guy's legs off, but he's still gonna crawl after you, and this time with an aim to take you out with him, you know. And even guys who've had their heads chopped off, you know, they may have pulled a grenade out at the last minute, and if you're too close to them, you'll get the damage from.
So that builds into the obliteration techniques as well, right? Because based on which limbs are cut off, you're gonna do a different obliteration move, which is just a kind of gratuitous finisher, right? Like
Yeah.
a fatality or something.
Yeah, you know, it's basically like, okay, when you're near somebody who's been dismembered somehow, you press Y, and like, if you time it right, he'll do an obliteration technique. But it depends on like what angle you're standing at him from, if you're from in front or if you're in behind him, or if you chopped off one of his legs, both of his legs, his head, his arm, you know, whatever you've actually cut off of the person will indicate which obliteration technique move you will do. And as you get better at the game, you'll probably know which one will come out.
Do you think that it's going to get old seeing the same animation over and over again, or are they going to try to pop it full of so much stuff that you won't notice?
I don't think it's going to be like a Manhunt kind of thing where slow, boring, oh, I'm going to pull his head back, slit his throat thing. It's very fast, very violent, and you're just like, wow, the whole time.
You know, they did release HD footage of the Aqua Capital stage or whatever, and when I saw it at first, and I think a lot of people who have seen it, because this is the only way they've seen it, they thought it did look quite a bit like Sigma, or, you know, in terms of the graphics.
Yeah.
But when Team Ninja did play that section in front of us live on a real TV screen, there's more to the lighting than you'd expect there to be, and it really does pop a bit more than you'd think it would. The amount of blood, limbs, and shit that's flying around, combined with the fact that you're moving so swiftly, like, it's really impressive.
Those other 3 levels that I played, right, there was a Ninja Village level that really kind of reminded me of the first stage of Ninja Gaiden 1.
Yeah.
But it does look so much better. There are so many things going on. Environments are huge. They're really, really, really detailed. And the level that really had the biggest impact on me was the New York level, because, you know,
You're from New York.
I'm from New York, so I can tell like how detailed that is, and like there's all this neon going on. You know, they do this torrential downpour thing, which is just unbelievable, and it's so high res. It's almost like you can see every drop landing. It's nuts, and you're fighting huge fiends in this level. These huge purple things that are just like, you know, ordinarily like in another game they would be a boss, but this is just like, you know, you're fighting like 8 of them.
What sounds really exciting is that in your article it says that the final boss of the game is going to be a badass ninja.
Yeah, they said that the new super evil boss, I guess he's from the Black Spider clan, Ninja clan. He may be like Mirai or something like that, but he will be, you know, kind of like a human scale. That's not to say that, and I have no idea honestly, but that's not to say that he can't do like one of those Final Fantasy type transformations where he turns into like a gigantic scorpion or something like that. What we do know is that he will be, you know, like Ryu, he'll be another ninja, super ninja like that. If you take the Hurricane Pack stuff from Ninja Gaiden Black, Ninja Gaiden Sigma, where you're playing as Ryu Hayabusa and you're fighting the Ryu in the black dragon suit.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's what the boss from Ninja Gaiden 2 is going to be like, just on like a much more intense scale. I don't know if you're going to meet him in, you know,
various encounters,
various points throughout the game. You may still fight the giant boss. Those may be his subordinates at like level 9 or whatever. You know, all of a sudden you got to fight this guy who's like 3 stories tall. I'm sure they're going to do some really
giant bosses in the game. Yeah, definitely, because the last game had that, and people expect that.
Started from the top. Here we go. Epic film. The highway. There's a highway carrot. There's the guitar solo just going da-da-da.
Brian, you beat the game, right?
I beat the game in 14 hours. It's really short.
You think? 14 hours is kind of long.
Not for an RPG.
No, like, I personally don't need a game to be 20 or 30 hours. And this game took me, because I cared about my characters, and I did many, many side quests, and I talked to everybody. It took me 20 hours. Like why?
Side quests here suck.
Yeah. You didn't, how do you know?
Because after I finished the 14 hours, I went back because I was like, I'm reviewing this. I have to make sure, see what side quests are like. They are lame. Yeah. Totally lame.
Yeah.
Even I show up on my own moon, for Christ's sake, and it's like, what did he do?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah,
you have to shoot things.
The mission on the moon is the only side
things.
quest I came across that actually rewarded you with something, because you complete that, you're able to add to your class.
Yeah,
like,
lame.
Since I'm doing the guide, I'm like doing every little side quest, and they're all the same.
You're doing the guide. Have you spent any money in the game? Is there any point to money in the game?
And the loot that you get, like just doing any of the missions, is comparable to anything you can spend money on.
Well, it was hard to upgrade your equipment. That was another minor complaint.
I would like to have sorted my equipment.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Something to sort it, or to just.
KOTOR had this problem solved.
But the thing that I ran into a couple times is because I wasn't heeding the game's warnings about like. You're nearing the 150 item limit.
If you got over 100, you're stuck in that screen.
And so you're at the screen, and you're like, okay, whatever. And so then I finish the fight, I kill off all these mercenaries, and then it pulls up the screen of like, okay, you need to delete these items and convert them to Omnigel because you can't throw them in your inventory. And I'm looking at these items, I'm like, wait, no, this is really good. I really want to keep this. Can I go into my inventory that I have now and delete anything?
And that's
no.
And you also can't see the details of those items.
I know. Well, and that is where I feel that.
You can't get out of that screen.
No, you can't.
You can't leave that screen until you delete
do you want to look at what you have first?
Well, it warned you. It warned you, man.
Yeah,
it told you. It told you. Now it screwed you.
Can't be mad.
It's fun. I think that the options they give you are fun, but they make it too hard to get to, so you end up resisting and
it's
not
overwhelming. It's overwhelming.
The thing that I did like, though, in terms of how they handled the item distribution is like as soon as you killed something, you would just automatically get like the bullets or whatever off of them. You don't need to go over and investigate every body.
So did you all play as vanguards or?
I was a vanguard.
Because the one thing I was not happy with, I picked Sentinel, which is a mix of tech and biotics, and I did something wrong in leveling my character, and the last boss battle, this is where I had some problems with balance in the overall game. And I mean, it didn't affect me because I always had a good squad.
Yeah, but then what happened, Jen? What happened, Jen? What did you do, Jen? Grab my game save, and you're like, God, your character's like, God.
As part of my research and reviewing it, I'm like, why is it that Brian was able to beat this character in 3 rounds, and or beat the final boss in 3 tries, 2 tries, and it took me, like, I'm not kidding, how many, over 50, maybe?
Oh.
Like, no, it was bad.
That is the opposite of fun.
It was not fun at all. And I took Brian, 3 times I beat the final boss. And I do feel like
I said,
the game gives you freedom to level up your character however you want. And sometimes you will pay the price. So
I auto leveled the AI, my squad mates, and that was a key.
Well, the difference was I had really high intimidate and charm, which enabled me to have a story development that the other 2 reviewers didn't get because they couldn't do it. But the points I put in there, I paid the price later.
Death attack is a matter of some concern, but there is nothing to indicate Saren was involved in any way.
The investigation by Citadel Security turned up no evidence to support your charge of treason.
An eyewitness saw him kill Nihilus in cold blood.
We've read the Eden Prime reports, Ambassador. The testimony
It is a great story, and the fact that they are working with an all-new IP. Before, we've seen them with KOTOR. Jade Empire's story was Jade Empire's story. But this story really does stand on its own. They built this world, and it's a very complicated story. Like, it's got a lot of different layers, and you have to pay attention, or else it's going to be like
Yeah, there were certain times where I was like, Jen, what happened? Who's this class and where are they from? What race are they doing?
Mr. Final Fantasy VII and Metal Gear, like, let's talk about how much we love those stories. You're talking about
no. It was hard to follow. It's all new stuff. I was trying to figure it out.
No, it's not, actually. I mean,
Encyclopedia Codex thing that boots up every so often, and then you're like, oh wow, what's this about? And you pull it up, and it's like some generals have thought about. I thought that was great. I was like, oh wow, this world's huge.
For anybody who wants to know more, it's right there. And the journal was actually super helpful for those moments where my mind would wander and I didn't quite hear which planet or where I was supposed to go.
20-minute conversation you're having with somebody? Yeah,
the dialogue tree. And I all of a sudden I'm like, wait, we're supposed to go somewhere. Shit, the journal. And there it is. It's telling me what I just didn't pay attention to, and I loved that.
Saren's hiding something. Give me more time. Stall them.
Stall the council? Don't be ridiculous. Your investigation is over, Garrus.
The character development is amazing. You know, it is, and there are so many cinematic moments, you know, in the game.
But I think one thing they kind of said, they built their dialogue system was going to be so revolutionary and stuff like that. Well, like, let's be honest. The big trick is that the guy doesn't repeat exactly what he said, what the kind of choice is. That's the big thing. But like, there's no more. They build that you could interrupt people and stuff like that in conversation. That's not in the game anymore.
But it's totally a case of they oversold it. Where if they had just said if they had not made such a big deal about the dialogue and maybe made more of like realistic characters, which I think ended up being really good, and then just kind of like snuck up on you with the dialogue changes, then they would have been getting a ton of praise for it, because it is really, really a leap forward from their previous thing where you like read your response. You never hear your character say it. You just pick from a multiple choice list.
So intelligent. We don't need to appreciate their culture, Lenko. We need to blow them up. Period.
What I loved is I would kind of cringe when I saw the thing, because they give you a very short summary of the sentiment, so it would be like, you know, kill him, he's not worth it, or something. And so I'd pick that and I'd be like, oh my god, I just don't want to hear how Commander Shepard is going to put this. And then I was like, you know what? That Commander Shepard, she's really good with words. Like, she put that very well.
The biggest thing for me was the combat. I thought the combat was genius. I mean, I was kind of getting tired of, the way their BioWare games have been. But this is like, you can kind of play it any way you want to. If you want to play it as a shooter, you can totally play it as a shooter. You can kind of run and gun it, but if you want to slow down the action to use all your powers, you totally can. So I thought it was awesome.
So what character class were you playing as?
I was the Vanguard, so it was kind of a mix of soldier and kind of magic, and it was awesome. I mean, the point was, what I loved was that my character was really good, but my AI was really smart. So I had guys who would just take enemies and just toss them 60 feet in the air, and I would just kind of, and they would just do it like, I didn't have to like command them to do it. They were smart enough to know when they should do those commands. So that was really awesome. But at the same time, it was challenging on the other side, because I'd be hiding behind cover, and then all of a sudden someone would use the left command, and all of a sudden my enemy would raise my cover, so actually I'd be like back looking and said, oh crap, I'm gonna get hit, and all of a sudden they'd snipe me and stuff. So I thought combat was really, really awesome.
I've had trouble with combat.
Yeah, I have too.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Okay, here, you know why? Because no one taught you how to play the game. Because there's absolutely no tutorial whatsoever. Thank God BioWare showed me how to play the game before I reviewed it, because I had no clue.
I actually found the lack of, very typical tutorial a little bit refreshing, I have to say. Like, you figure it out soon enough, but I don't think it really hindered my enjoyment of the game at all.
I'm having pathfinding issues with the AI.
Terrain's too rough.
Something's in the way.
I can't make it.
And I've had them get stuck behind walls and stuff. And
I didn't micromanage their paths like that, so I found that their own AI was good enough that I didn't have to babysit them, which I thought was really great. And I was more interested in just picking the powers that they would use. And I think, even if you're not enjoying the combat that much, can you at least admit that the variety of powers available and the way you can use them in concert with one another is really fun.
No,
it allows for, and the fact that it's physics-based means it's like different every time, and you can never predict what's going to happen next, even if you do the exact same thing.
The other thing is I think we have to bring up is that how good this game looks. I mean, Jen and I, I don't know how far you've gotten, but Jen and I finished it, and there's some levels at the end, they're just unbelievable visually, like just stunning. Like I don't want to ruin it for anybody who hasn't seen the later levels, but there's just one area at the end, like I'm just like, holy crap.
I still dream of like the originally planned downloadable planets for the original KOTOR.
Yeah, I remember
how they promised that once upon a time? For some reason, like I'm still not burned. I still think like, oh, maybe they'll give you a whole new planet and it'll start to develop the story because they've written it as a trilogy. And I am curious. I want to know what happens next with my character. I'm excited to find out.
Yeah, there. Now you can't stand up when you play. Tap water! Tap water! Tension, don't mess with Fear's Rock. We're that good. Master Chief. What's going on, Nelson? Nothing. Nothing? Nothing! We have nothing, you know that? Second place!
Calm down, calm down.
Loser!
No, you're not a loser. Nelson, I've been where you're at. I felt that way. You want to know what helped me through it? What? Basketball Jesus. I want you to take this home, read it. I'll give you a quiz over the first 2 chapters tomorrow morning.
Thanks, friend.
No. Thanks, brother.
So I'm sorry it was late this morning, but I woke up early at like 7 and I thought that I had like an hour of Assassin's Creed left, but it turned out that I had like 3 or 4 hours of Assassin's Creed left.
Are you sure it was 3 to 4 hours and not that it seemed like 3 to 4 hours?
It may have been an illusion, I'm not sure. But
I think, are we arranged in like from liking the game to disliking the game through here? Or?
Perhaps. Let's discuss.
I think it's a really smartly designed, pretty elegant game, and it knows that like it bundles all of the parts together pretty well.
I agree with you on the elegance. I think the concept is very interesting. The story is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
The set, the cities, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But I didn't find much of a game there. It's 3 cities, 3 different districts.
Yeah.
You're doing the same thing over and over and over again.
So one of the games this year that I really thought that I wasn't going to like, that I think is really similar to this game in terms of its structure, is Crackdown. It's a game about like running around and basically exploring an environment and grabbing stupid orbs that are scattered around it.
I agree with you. I totally see the Crackdown comparisons there. But the difference is that in Crackdown, the orbs, they did something. In Assassin's Creed, you have flags.
It's like the oysters in GTA and San Andreas or something like that. And I think I agree that the game is elegant, and there's certain things that really work, like running around town is really
the parkour
really fun.
and free running.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's a great parkour simulator.
Actually going through the cities, feeling like you're learning where things are, which I didn't think I would because they're so large. Like, and jumping all around. It's like Crackdown. It was just really fun to explore these spaces.
Yeah, I would argue that it's too open-ended for its own good.
Maybe.
They created this wonderful overworld, and the instant you're done with the first like 3 assassinations, they give you the option to completely skip it. There's no incentive. There's no reason to go back.
I'm glad they gave me the option
I am
to
too,
skip
because
it. I'm like, it's
there's
so
nothing
annoying
to do.
fucking go to and from the different
And it's
places.
the same thing with it's the same thing with the cities and the objectives.
It comes down to patience. I mean, it really just comes down to patience.
Yeah.
When I was riding through the environments, I'm not thinking this is annoying. I'm thinking like, wow, this is really beautiful. I can't believe they let artists spend the time.
No, and I think we all thought that the first time.
Yeah, the first time is great, but then when you're doing it after every single assassination,
First, number one, they give you the option to skip it.
Yeah,
right?
which is good.
Which is
Yeah,
good.
thank God.
And I wanted to beat the game pretty fast, so I skipped it most of the time.
Yeah.
I did it a few times, and I'm like, okay, this saves me 30 minutes if I don't do this. But I did like exploring all the little paths and killing off Templars.
What I didn't like was the fact that they teased you with an indoor environment at the very beginning by putting you in that cave. Because I wanted more indoor environments because the cities themselves, yeah, they look different. Yeah, they have different buildings. Yeah, they have different people.
Yeah.
But they all play the same.
Everything else about the game is just so silly and kind of stupid. Like, you investigate these assassinations by finding towers to climb up and look around, and apparently by doing this you could see someone, half a mile away to go eavesdrop or pickpocket.
The first time they actually showed me the actual investigation portions where you actually have to go pickpocket somebody or eavesdrop. And at first I'm like, oh, this is really cool. I like the idea of doing all these things.
I grow tired of this. Look, I'll consider what he has to offer, but I doubt it'll change my mind. Now go on, get out of here.
And the more I played the game, I kept on thinking, okay, in my next hit, they're going to change something, right? I'm going to do something different. But they didn't. And it gets to the point where you're like, okay, this is all I do?
The basic structure of that is fine, but the variance isn't there.
Is that the last of them? I hope so.
It kind of reminded me too of Spider-Man 2. I don't know if you guys remember that,
a little bit.
where like you can save a kid, and the kid gives you the same canned speech every single time.
Yeah.
That's how it is with Assassin's Creed, because you can actually save people in the city, and they'll basically say the same goddamn thing to you every single time.
Is that the last of them? I hope so.
I once saved a woman, and as soon as I locked off and went away, she instantly looked down and said, "Who could have done this?" I'm like, "I just did it."
At the end of the day, for me, it's the parkour simulation, and the world, and the combat, which I think is actually really fun, especially near the end of the game. I mean, they really believe in their combat. At the end of the game, there's a lot of
The controls are great. Yeah. They really got people might be worried about it, but the controls
they're nailed. The action of the game is really good when you're moving, when you're riding, when you're free running. You're holding down buttons. It's really smart, and it's like your fingers aren't doing very much, so your eyes can focus on the screen and moving through the space. The combat is all like button presses, it's all timing and rhythm, so it feels completely different. I like the rhythm of the gameplay. I think a lot of people expect most games to have combat that's like God of War or like any other action game, but
it is a bit uneven at first. They do the Metroid thing, where they give you the first level and you have all your abilities and equipment. Yeah. Then they take it away and slowly, piece by piece, give it back to you. And by the end, you get all your stuff back, and the enemies are actually more intelligent in what they do, and the combat gets better and better and better. But at the beginning and through that's the first half of the game, I would say the combat's just kind of parry. I like the centerpiece assassinations, the stuff that you're building up to. That stuff's interesting.
Yeah, they're great.
The assassination portion was really awesome, and I really liked doing it, but there was a little bit too much of it. It gets to the point where I'm like, okay, I could have done 4 of those, and then done the actual present day stuff, and found out like what was going on in that world, and to me, that would have felt like a really complete game.
Have you forgotten how to sit, Mr. Miles?
I don't think people are going to stick with it, though. Like, the first you know, the story doesn't really start to gel until like halfway through. I was just, you know, reliving the same memories over and over. You just do the same thing over and over. I'm telling you, if I wasn't reviewing this game, I would know, I never would play it.
See, and I totally disagree. I think that the story is actually pretty adult, and it doesn't just spell out everything for you. It actually engages you a little bit, like, and makes you kind of want more from it, and I kind of appreciate that.
Have a seat on the Animus, Desmond.
Doesn't make any buts about it being a simulation the whole time. I mean, there's a metaphor to this game, and it sticks to it through and through.
I think the theme is just deja vu, because it's just like the same thing over and over.
This game is basically, it wasn't built as a complete game. It was built with a sequel in mind, and I don't like that. I think that, you know, is not good for a gamer, because by the end of the game, I'm like, that's it? Really?
I think that it is a kind of complete story. Though it's set up for things that could happen in the future, you could stop now, and the message has been, you know, the message is out there. What they wanted to say with the game has been said. It's hard to talk about it without spoiling it. I mean, people really need to play it. But anyway, like I say, if you're one of those dumb games as art people like me, you know, I mean, it's definitely a pretty good example to look at, and they're definitely trying pretty hard.
I just want to find out what's going on in the present day. That's what I want to figure out. And by the end of the game, they don't tell you. They're like, okay, you got to play the next game. I'm like, no, I want to play it now.
All of the new Valve games that came out, they stripped down like everything that sucked, anything that would have made the games longer to just like lengthen out the game so that it was like this core, beautiful essence of what this product should be. Assassin's Creed may suffer from that thing, which is that, hey, it needs to be a full retail product that's $59.99 on your, you know, Xbox 360, and we spent this many years with this many people making it, so let's make sure it's 10 to 15 to 20 hours long.
Like, you're into the story and stuff, but I found myself trying to make my own fun. Like when I had to ride the damn horse, I would just see how many people I can run over with my horse.
I did the same, but I don't think the game punishes you for that.
No, it doesn't.
That's part of the game.
But it's a symptom of the compulsion to play through it. It wasn't there for, I think, most of us here. I wanted to like it a lot. At the beginning I did, but then I started seeing other games in it. I saw Zelda for exploration and combat. I saw Prince of Persia for combat and acrobatics. Crackdown, like you were talking about, for open-ended cities and kind of making your own fun. Yeah, Metal Gear for the stealth and the espionage, and I can't remember.
How about like a Shadow of the Colossus for the riding around sections and the outdoor?
It's all these different parts of games that we all know.
Sure.
But it doesn't really do anything with them.
I would argue that for me, the product of all of those parts coming together in a, like I say, a very elegantly designed package with a metaphor that like runs through the whole game. The fact that it wasn't some dumb Matrix thing, that it was all that future stuff was put in from the setup so that it doesn't feel like a cheap trick. I think that people really got down on this game a couple months ago, and I don't know exactly why that happened. And I think that if you don't go in expecting too much, if you just let it be what it is, I think it's a really nice experience.
I think it's going to be a very polarizing game.
I can't wait for the next game, the game that they should have in the first game, which is when you find out what the hell happens in the fucking future.
You guys tell me what happens, because I don't want to play it anymore.
So do you have like an alcoholic problem now?
Who doesn't?
Nelson's got something. Wait, Chris still there?
The game's not even on.
Why can't you pick up drugs or drinking or something more normal?
I know, I do the drinking. Works for me. Dude, Nelson!
You can stop now.
No!
You can stop now.
No! Hey!
Hey, hey!
No! Help you! No! God, no!
Nelson, no, come on. It hurts me to see you like
Leave it on! I almost got the dragon! The dragon!
Nelson. Oh, I'll leave you alone.
Rated E for everyone.
Particle Man, doing the things a particle can. What's he like? It's not important. Particle Man, is he a dot or is he a speck? When he's underwater, does he get wet? Or does the water get him instead? Nobody knows. Particle Man.
Did you hear something?
Nuh-uh. Guys? Newsweek's end guy Kroll, what are you doing here?
Nelson, don't cry, man. You guys deserve to win. You rocked harder than anyone else in the entire tournament. And that's why I'm here, special from New York, to give you the Most Valuable Rocker Award. Take it, man. You deserve it.
Woo! 2,000 note streak!
1, 2, 3. Yeah!